No.
This meeting is being recorded.
This is the regular meeting of the Bethany Board of Finance, December 13, 2022, in the Selectmen's Conference Room. Present in person are board members John Ford and Sharon Huxley. On Zoom, we have Katie Barone, Kathy Barone, and Katie Erickson. Sorry, ladies, I was conflating you. And then we're outnumbered by our staff, our town staff. So we have our town attorney, our first select woman, our finance director, and our assessor all here with us, along with Laura, our clerk for the meeting. And I think I said this meeting is being recorded. So the first thing on the agenda, we'll do this, see if we can do this quickly, to approve the minutes of the November 8th meeting. They were emailed out to everybody. Oh, I should mention that John Grabowski and Lars Demander had conflicts. So concerning the minutes, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, second from anyone?
A second.
Thank you. Discussion? Anyone? I didn't see anything. Okay, hearing nothing. Those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 So that was everybody. So the minutes are approved. Then to the fun part of the meeting, Betsy Quist is here, our assessor, to discuss with us the tax abatement application for Bill and Wendy Grieger for 153 Amity Road.
Sharon, or somebody may have to explain to them because they will not have the attack, but she passed out in
I'll
front of
read,
them.
I'll read
So,
what I passed out.
Okay,
So I passed out just a sort of a summary on 153 Amity Road, the Grieger's property, giving what the current tax would be with the current mill rate. Obviously, these are just numbers to give you estimates of where you are at. Their assessment is at 1,068,800 times our current mill rate, which is 36, would be a tax bill of $38,476.80. Under the abatement options, I gave a 30% abatement option, which is $320,640 times our mill rate, which would be $11,543. A 20% abatement option, which would be $213,760 times our mill rate, which would be a $7,695 abatement option, or under a 10%, which would be $106,880 times our current mill rate, which would be $3,847. These are just giving you some guidelines as to show you what your options can be. I was told they can also be customized, but this was just to give you some raw numbers so that you can look at it and decide if this works, if you think it works, or you want to do something different, but just to give you ranges of how much abatement would be for each percentage.
okay. So their application includes 2 addresses, but you're only addressing one?
Well,
Is that
because the parcel of land is 153 Amity Road. If you look at
Okay.
the field card that I attached to it, there are 2 buildings. And one
Yes.
building is 153 Amity Road, and then the second building, which they built, was 147. And those have the numbers on them.
Mhm. Okay,
The reason we do that is because of our GIS, we can only attach that one parcel to the GIS.
Mhm.
But that's why we specifically noted on the field cards which building was which.
okay, thank you. And the field cards were in part of her handout tonight.
And I'll leave these for you to give to them.
Okay, so
and next year's a revow. Plus the
We are
mill rate will
revaluing,
change, the
yes.
mill rate will change,
Right.
potentially, so there's.
And we're basically right now, our sales ratio is at about 40. So you can expect to see quite a large increase in valuations.
Mhm.
And that's across the board. So, that's to say, everybody might receive, 5 to 8%, but the mill rate probably will go down to compensate for some of that, so it's not to say everybody's gonna get like a huge increase in taxes, it's just to say that there are gonna be major changes.
Mhm.
So, and we were forced to do, our reval stayed the same under the new schedule.
Mhm.
But there were a lot of communities in New Haven County that were forced to go a year earlier.
Oh, earlier, not.
Oh, yeah.
later. Oh,
Over half of them
wow,
are forced to go a year earlier,
interesting.
which presents huge budget issues
Yes.
in two of my communities. So,
Okay.
but what the ordinance does also say is when you go through a revaluation, that's why you do it by percentages. That's why you don't do a flat rate, because you do a percentage so that it just carries over to the new valuation. And the amount would change based on that percentage. That's right. And the mill rate.
Okay.
So. Any other questions? I mean, this is more of you guys to mull it over than.
I have
But according to
completely.
the code, it had to come.
Yes,
before you
yeah,
and the
yeah.
finance.
How many years is the
Years.
abatement for?
Yeah.
You can do up to 3, I believe,
Three.
correct?
Okay.
What is he requesting? Is he just generally asking for abatement and then he'll take whatever he gets, or?
Don't believe he has not, the form is that for this incentive probably needs to be revamped a little bit.
I agree.
Only only because there's probably more questions you could ask of the person asking, like you said, how many years does he want? Because I know there are different town abatements that you can approve 3 years, you can approve 5 years, you can approve 7 years, depending on how large the project is.
Right.
You
Or
can
you either do a
include
lower
personal
percentage
property.
for longer years or larger
Yeah.
percent, yeah, so you can have.
So,
flexibility.
it probably would be good if we took a second look at this.
So if you sit down with the ordinance and
Yeah.
base your questions on the ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things he does right on his, application is that number of jobs retained in Bethany, and he says 12 based on his renters. I can say that, he's not that forthcoming as to tell us who his renters are. So I don't know how accurate that is in terms of jobs, which is a part of the ordinance that you know.
And his renter should theoretically be filing personal property.
They theoretically should be, but because we don't know who they are. It's one of those push me, pull you. I can only discover who I know, and the ones who are there that don't want to be discovered, I don't know.
Mhm.
So,
It's interesting though. I have a feeling this number of jobs to be retained is really not a helpful question anyway, unless we were talking about some kind of large facility, because
I mean, it could fluctuate too.
well, it is part of the ordinance because the
It's part of
reason
the
that you're
road.
giving this abatement is because you, in most parts, you want this business to come to you.
Mhm.
That's where that sort of comes from. Why should we give you this abatement? The
Mhm.
Ladder Creek, why should we give you an abatement? Well, because we're gonna build another second facility
Right.
and employ 50 more people.
Mhm.
That's the incentive to give it to them because they're employing more people, they're bringing people into the community,
Right.
which creates, places for people to eat, to shop, to do whatever like that. So it is a big part of an abatement ordinance because giving it to you just because you added a big building doesn't mean anything. What are you doing for the community for us to, put the tax burden on everybody else for 3 years to give you an abatement? is sort of how you're looking at it.
Okay.
It's an interesting term, though, number of jobs retained as opposed to growth, like, in theory, he should be trying to convince us, or she, together, that they are growing their business in order to bring more business into the town, like you had mentioned.
Or maybe it's number of jobs created.
That's what I meant. Yeah, jobs creation, yeah.
Because he has a
You gotta look
number
at the
of
statute.
facilities in,
With
Because
documentation.
You derive your authority to grant this based upon whatever Hartford has said. So you have to look at the statute, which is the enabling legislation. And of course, this ordinance likely is following the statutory language. So, it's likely not language that we came up with locally. We probably followed whatever the statute said. So
20 years ago. And
Right.
It should be reviewed.
it should absolutely be reviewed.
So, any suggestions, recommendations? Do we have a draft motion on this, or do we just?
no, I think whatever your recommendation is going to be to the Board of Selectmen, so
Selectmen.
whatever you decide
Oh,
here,
okay.
then the Board of Selectmen will either
Mhm.
accept, reject, modify, whatever you send forward.
So this is actually likely to be a greater value to them in the future, the larger the number, right after the revale.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Yes,
The
rather
larger
than,
the percentage, the larger the benefit to them, yeah.
on the other hand, it's a recent building, so it may. Well.
What was
it should
their
be
investment? Is there a total investment?
1.2
It's like
million.
$1.5 million is the total value.
So what was the increase in assessment?
It went from 79,000 to 1,068,000,
There was an increase of,
about $1 million.
so it was about more than 500,000.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So that would be. Fit into that category,
and there wouldn't be any personal property
right,
because they're just storage
Mhm.
units.
for your eligibility.
New England's closets. Drive all over New England, Vermont, there is not a single town that doesn't have at least one of these facilities.
Well, it's low maintenance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have the potential for bringing us any additional revenue unless we know who the renters are. Right,
Correct.
so this is basically just. I don't know who's-
This is not good. Here. 500 plus up to 2 years. 25 plus up to 3 years.
or
Yeah, I
tell
don't think that's
three
right.
or
I think it's,
one.
I think that's 3 and 3.
Because he would fit here. Right,
That might
Yeah,
be-
but I don't think it's 2. I thought it was 753.
I thought it was 753 also, I don't know what this is. Because this makes no sense, 25,000. Why would you give anything for 25,000?
Yeah, I don't, is this the local one?
Yeah, this
Oh.
is, I just printed this off.
Yeah, I've never even seen that in there. Have you ever seen 25 in abatement?
Never.
No, 500 usually is the
so-
lowest, right?
So-
And then it goes, then there's a million, and then there's a 3 million, and then like 7.
That's probably 535, 500, there's probably 1,000,035.
Yeah, probably
So-
about 5, 1,000,035. This is maybe,
So maybe this, I just got this off the internet, so maybe
Yeah.
so, all right, so this is probably 3, so he fits here.
Yeah.
All right,
and I would say that's up to 3 years, not 2 years. I've never
Right.
even heard of 2 years either.
no,
Have you heard of that?
this, I don't know why this is.
It's nice to have another assessor in here because
There's,
we both look at the same thing.
there's something on the internet that is in our town code that just, I'll let Will know. Because if this is in E code. It's wrong, because it's right there too.
Yeah. Is this on ours?
I just got it off the judicial website.
Oh, So,
But that's what, they would get to 3 years,
yeah, you could, no more than,
no more than 3 years.
right,
Yeah, so that's your, whatever your pleasure is.
that's your
up to 3 years.
threshold.
The time or the dollar amount?
The time,
time?
an abatement up to 3 years,
Mhm.
And then depending on what
And
percentage.
then it's
you would-
saying up to 50%.
up to 50%.
Well, it's not a manufacturing facility though.
Right.
I believe this isn't Bethany's. Is this Bethany?
Yeah.
No.
That's why I was looking at it.
When did you say this was first created? 20 years ago?
The town, Bethany.
Between 15 and 20.
the-
2006.
the review that's
So
required.
would we have the minutes from that? Well, it's Bethany, maybe they just knew.
Well, no. Well, you know what? Let me go to the town website.
Gonna have to expand the meeting time. I'm gonna suggest, just to throw it out there, just to give us some place to start, a compromise that benefits both us and them is 20% 3 years.
I'm okay with that.
It's the middle range, and then if
Mhm.
they can benefit from a reval. So. Kathy, Katie,
Yes, is there, thank you for making that suggestion, Sharon. Is there, I know there is, what have we done recently? I know that we approved one in the past year or two. Do you remember what we approved at that time? I just want to be consistent and sort of follow our precedent.
I think green light was 3 years for 30%, but they also had
They had
personal property and they
lot of
also
personal
had,
property. And employment.
employees. yeah.
They had-
Mhm.
Because these basically are two storage
Okay.
units with renters who, like you said, at this point in time, we don't know
and,
who those renters are with their personal property.
Okay, so question, can we take this under advisement? So that Betsy's part is done and take a month or into,
Because this wouldn't go into
We did.
effect until,
October
October.
2023.
yeah, so you have time.
so we have time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kathy, Katie, does that sound good to you?
Yes,
Is that way we can find out what we did, among other things, I know that they have asked for them before, so we can see what we gave them on their other properties also.
And will you know more about the, who their renters are by then?
Not
Okay.
unless they tell us.
You can request it. Well, you can ask them to say, they put on a document that they've signed and says, we have 12
keeping
people according
12
to our
jobs.
renters,
Mhm.
tell us. Give us an idea of who you brought to Bethany, so we know.
Who are your
I know that
renters?
one of their renters is CJ Pumps, and all he did was move from their property on Pleasant down to there. So,
was this property currently, I'm sorry, I'm just not familiar with which one this is. Is it currently vacant? Is it brand new? Like, what is he doing to this?
brand new 2 storage facilities on Amity Road near Green Light, like.
Almost
Yeah.
diagonally
Yeah,
across.
okay. Mhm.
Pretty new, yeah.
The town's website, same thing.
Okay.
2 years, 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we can research that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're 2 brand new storage facilities.
That's what-
And they're basically, there's 6 units in each building. It's not office, it's more of,
Is it strictly storage?
there's a bathroom in like 2 of them, so
So could they be fit out to have an office or?
that would be a zoning question, but I don't think they were approved as being any office space at all, so.
Not a workshop or anything, like a
That's
mechanic
what I
type?
mean. You're
Yeah,
helping them.
Well, yeah, it
Maybe
might
you're
even
helping
maybe be a
understand.
wood, working kind of thing, or metal
Maybe I'll know.
sheathing, you know, but I would say, you know, you're gonna
Send
set
it
up
to
an
me so I
accounting,
can just, so I
um,
can look at it before Friday.
you know, office in there.
Makes no sense.
I
Okay.
don't believe it's fitted out like that.
But two of the units have the potential to at least have some.
I think there's 2 bathrooms that sort of, the units all have the ability
Oh,
to
shared.
share. So if you're there, you know,
Mhm.
he doesn't have to provide you with porta potty facility.
Okay.
I think I would like more information,
Mhm.
just because I'm having a little trouble understanding how a storage unit is going to drive, revenue to the
Revenue.
town,
Too, I
other
agree.
than income to the owner, unless they're being used for like someone who's spending more time than just storing things. So that's would be helpful information to me, if that's something we could get.
I think that the thing to do right now is table it
Yeah. Mhm.
for some research into what their history is on their other properties, and also into
Hey, Grant, can you lower that? a little bit?
completely wrong with the wording in the ordinance, but, all right, could I have a motion to that effect then, to table it for further research?
I'll move that.
Thank you, that was Katie.
Yeah.
I think. Second, John,
Second, yeah.
okay, I think we're all agreed, but those in favor?
Aye,
I, Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Betsy.
thank you.
Sure.
And
No
I,
problem.
I guess he's gonna catch on Monday.
What you should probably do is scan this and then email it. to the
Yes,
people who
yeah,
are here.
Yeah.
Is that-
Mhm.
Yeah.
We will make sure they get it and.
See you Monday.
and
See you
thank
Monday. I'm gonna, yes, I'm gonna put it on my calendar so I forget.
Mhm.
Put it on your calendar so you forget.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent.
Thanks, Ben.
I'll be there regardless.
You're gonna be there regardless.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. All right, the next piece on the agenda is grants. I'm gonna turn it over to Leslie for quick updates. These are probably not more than 1 or 2 sentences each. if I
Correct.
Remember correctly.
A and B kind of go together. Our next working group meeting is Thursday night at 7:30. It will be a Zoom only meeting, and that invite will be going out tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. I'm
ARPA, we are
already-
still looking for suggestions for the additional money that we have not yet allocated. The steep grant, I spent 45 minutes on a webinar today. So we have more instructions on how to go forward in obtaining the money. It is a reimbursement. So we have to spend the money and then submit the receipts, and they will reimburse us. And we have to make sure we adhere to affirmative action on the entire process. On Cabrera's, it's been approved by the legislature, and that too is a reimbursement grant.
That's news.
And that was news to
Even Senator
even
Cabrera.
Senator Cabrera that it was reimbursement. And as far as the Delora money, it is strictly for Center Station for safety improvements only. It was originally submitted as a split grant between the gym and Center Station, but they chose to cut out
The gym.
the gym and keep it strictly as Center Station. One of the big parts on there's right after like in between the holidays, Paula, Jen, and I will be attending a webinar training session from SCROG. They have a best practice checklist for grants, and that will be circulated prior to Thursday night's meeting. So those of us in the working group can look at it and say, to find out where we may want to make adjustments to their proposal to tailor it to our needs. But the biggest thing that we have to tackle and address, we don't have to do that tonight, is the fact that most of these grants are reimbursement grants. So we have to determine where the money is going to come from to do the work we are applying for grant funds for. How are we going to pay it and then be reimbursed?
And then on the Delora one, if that one's a reimbursement one, we might need to consider withdrawing. And we don't want to do that because of the center station thing, but I mean, we don't have this kind of money to be putting out up front. We're gonna have to
Mhm.
figure out how this works anyway, but that's the new stuff for this month.
Yep.
So we have to almost like, so much for free money.
Yeah.
It's got a string.
Definitely puts.
What's the requirement for reimbursement, completion of the project, or?
No, you can submit, they vary from grant to grant. But usually it's a quarterly submission and reimbursement. Reimbursement can be anywhere from 14 days to 14 weeks.
That was my next question. Okay.
Yeah, the Cabrera ones, though, also part of what came through on those, I think the committee was aware of that, is they turn out to be ARPA. George Cabrera didn't know that either. Which may have limitations on when the money has to be expended. So there are new wrinkles making things more difficult. Right? Do you want to give like one of you one sentence or 2-sentence thing about the Brownfields grant?
We did not submit that grant. The process was not really done properly because they assumed a lot of things with the town staff that we never had input into. And they were looking at private properties, state properties, which we really don't have much say on. So it really put us in an uncomfortable position because I didn't know what kind of legal and financial implications would be with submitting this grant. So we just did not submit it because there were just too many questions and variables and things that just were not done properly. And so we were better off not submitting it. So.
But now they've opened again for them, because I saw an announcement that in January, they're going to be accepting, there's going to be another round of funding for them, so maybe they can get themselves a little more organized. And
Well, I mean, if they're going forward with the same properties, then it's still an issue.
well, but they can address the concerns that came up when the time pressure was on to turn that in, and it had never been reviewed by anyone in the town. So,
Yeah.
What grant was this? Remind me, I'm sorry about this, the Brownfield grant.
Brownfields, this is the Brownfields one.
Yeah, so Brownfields means different things to different people. So what is like?
Abandoned properties.
Contaminated.
Contaminated
specifically
abandoned properties.
And they had already had, the sustainability committee had a small grant for identifying and prioritizing properties, and that was
And
one
I think
thing.
that was a Yukon intern or somebody who came down. to
But
do
that,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it was paid by Yukon.
Yeah.
And then they, based on that, then you could apply for this million, was it $1 million?
500,000.
500,000. It was a pretty large amount of money, but, and that would actually be for the abatement to do the work. And that would be really, really helpful, except, except we don't own any of those properties, and some of them are private property, and nobody had discussed, actually, no one had discussed it with anyone, like, for example, even with planning and zoning, to see if that's what they actually might see as suitable, never mind the property owners to see if they wanted a grant submitted in their names. So because there's another round coming up, they can get their ducks in a row. It shouldn't slow it down any, right?
See
No,
what
it
they
shouldn't.
do. Let's
I
see
don't
what they do.
Were we thinking that building next to the state police, if I recall? Is that what that was? What
Well,
we're-
they put in there that the reason for doing the work was to build senior housing. Not maybe, or to assess its suitability, but to do it.
And that's state property. That's all one lot with the True Buy building and that abandoned building. It's all one parcel.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
so.
Hmm.
I think the state would probably be thrilled to have us take it off their hands. But that doesn't,
But we also don't know what,
whether it can be
it
used.
was like, even the thought of senior housing, what can that parcel sustain? We're, we don't have the infrastructure for that kind of water, so,
Anyway,
but yes, so we did not submit that one. Bottom line is we did not submit it. So,
okay. Anything else about grants? Okay. The chairman's report. Now, this first thing is something we had no, this isn't the same. I was thinking the steep grant. This is about the possibility of taking half of the Public Works Director's salary, because we don't need it for a Public Works Director for this year, and using it to additionally fund the consulting engineer line also in Public Works, so that we would have enough funds in an engineering line that we could pursue some of the upfront costs on some of these grants. The Connecticut statute allows us to do that as long as you stay within the departmental category, but at both the last budget meeting, the town meeting on the budget that Katie and I were at, and conversations with the charter committee about the budgeting process, we promised them that we would not do anything over $20,000 without checking with the town meeting. So I think that we can, actually, I'd like a motion to do this. We can approve it, and then it can go on the call of the meeting. I can't think of any reason why anyone would object to us taking the unused part of the.
I'm confused by all this.
Okay.
Why do we have to do this within a department? The town I work in, we move money around all the time within departments. My own budget with my own department, I can spend any amount of money, overspend any line, as long as I don't overspend the bottom line.
We
that a
would
charter?
be. They
There's
have a
no,
charter.
we're not in charter.
Charter.
you're not a charter? town?
Nope.
Okay.
So
Well, the statute says that you can do that, but the statute also doesn't allow you to have a contingency account, which we have, that we use when departments need additional funding, not individual line items, but departments.
all right, but I'm still confused. I thought you're taking a budget, you're taking a line item within the Public Works Department and moving it from one line
Yes.
item to another line item.
Yes, you
So,
can. It's-
so why do you need? I'm just.
we don't. We don't, but we promised the town meeting that we wouldn't. And we promised the charter committee that we wouldn't move more than $20,000 because what they were trying to do with the charter was basically say, Katie, what was it? 1.5% of the budget could be reallocated?
Yes,
something.
although I have a different memory of our agreement, Sharon,
Okay,
but I'll let you finish the thought and then,
okay. Well, I think that we can do this. And we should do this, but I also think we should take it to the town meeting. Because I think there's enough money there to get started on things before a town meeting, and just in terms of transparency.
So we're only doing this procedurally because a promise was made. to the-
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
And
All right.
I'm not gonna stand up in front of a meeting and they say, you promised.
okay, I wasn't at that meeting,
Yes,
so.
no, it was. Okay.
So my recollection was more about at the charter committee meeting, and we kept going around and around in miscommunication and misunderstanding until I thought, I think that they came to understand that the contingency that we have is to allow us, the Board of Finance, to put where we think is appropriate, because it's money that we have raised from, from our taxpayers. And so, and I also understood that the department heads of their departments can move around money, just as John had mentioned, with, with complete flexibility. But if they overspend on the total, or they plan to overspend on the total, then they need to come to the Board of Finance and speak to it, and then request contingency, which we have the right to approve or not. I think the big 20,000 was because there was some misunderstanding about us pulling money from the general fund to extra departments who overspent their budget, but we do have the contingency for that purpose. So I think that's why there was a lot of back and forth until we came to some agreements. However, I do love town meetings. I do think it's important to be transparent to to the people who live in the town. So I'm in favor of bringing it to them for transparency's sake, although I think it would be okay to proceed. It's just, I don't think I understand how much money we're talking either.
Oh, it's on the agenda, $28,000.
Okay,
It's
and
a-
that's over the 20. I see what you're saying.
Because
Mhm.
what the transfer allows is it gives us $43,000 to use for upfront costs on grants, where if we need to have architectural renderings, or if we have to pay for proposals and stuff like that, it allows us to have shovel-ready projects.
Excuse me,
Yes.
where did the 43,000 come from? I see
There's
the
already
28.
15, there's already $15,000 in that line.
Okay, I
So
get
this
it.
would bring it up to 43. That's why we're asking to do it formally with a transfer.
Mhm.
So that it's more transparent what we are doing. But it does give us the flexibility to not have to ask for an additional appropriation to fund the grant program, the grant process program.
Mhm.
Because last month we were talking about taking money,
Asking for 50,000.
asking for $50,000 from the general fund to do this. But I went back and I looked at the budget and I found a way to do it without asking for more money, just asking to reallocate what we had.
Okay, Katie? Kathy?
And this is coming, Leslie, you're proposing a transfer from which line to which line?
From the Public Works Director salary line to the consulting engineer line in Public Works.
Is there any way to know what the upfront costs on the grants are going to come to approximately, or there's no idea whatsoever?
No idea.
Hmm.
And this is appropriate under Public Works? That's my only thought, like, don't we have a projects? I don't
Well,
have
that's-
budget.
That's where we have at this time a consulting engineer.
And that was mostly for road.
Um,
So I think this is where you might have the stretch, in my opinion. I think
Well-
moving money is okay. It's just, I'm not really sure. This, I mean, is it clear which project is this? Is this you're talking about for the center station?
Well, it could be for Center Station or the gym.
Mhm. Which are, okay,
I think.
But
Public Works
having
is-
said that, for next fiscal year, the budgets that the department heads are beginning to turn into me,
mhm.
this line will appear under a facilities category.
Yeah, sounds like facilities to me, yeah, for sure.
Yes, yes, we don't have a category for that really.
Yeah, facilities doesn't exist right now.
Mhm.
I'm creating a new department.
Congrats.
All right, can I have a motion then to make that transfer of 28,000 from Public Works Director's salary to consulting engineer in Public Works? In accordance with Connecticut General Statute 7348. No?
I'll move it,
Okay.
for sure. Yeah.
All right, motion Katie, second John. Any further discussion?
Mm-mm.
In favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's see, I was at an Amity Finance Committee meeting last night. Two things there starting the budget cycle. First thing was a lengthy discussion about when the budget adjustments for the surpluses will be made. The discussion is over the statutory meaning of next year. So that's going around and around and around, and unfortunately, the statute could be interpreted a couple of different ways there. Anyway, and so we may see, it's unlikely that we'll see an adjustment made to the 23 budget, but we might see it to the fiscal 24. Their starting requests, you know how there's always a highball number, so that every penny taken off, it makes us feel better, is 5.5 something % increase in spending. And they're currently running a $1.2 million surplus. That's the end of my report. That's it?
Nope,
Yeah.
Paul's
Me-
first.
Oh, Paul.
And I know, and I only have a
Oh,
couple
sorry.
of things, really, the hall project is coming along beautifully, if you get a chance to come in and see the progress. We thought it would be done by now, but their attention to detail is wonderful, so they've been going back, fixing a lot of things, and we're hoping in the next couple of weeks that it will be done, and the carpet and everything will be in, so very exciting to see the transformation in the hall. It looks fantastic. Also, I just finished my annual report the other day because I had to rehash an entire year. And I checked, I have not heard back from John Grabowski to make sure that he has received all of the annual reports, so.
He has some of.
People have been sending them to me, but I don't know if everyone has sent them to me, and both of us together, so. I just was trying to confirm with him if he's missing anybody at this point, and I have not heard back from him yet, so, but I just got him mine the other day, so I know mine is done. And really, we pretty much through the grant thing and some of the things Leslie's gonna go over, that pretty much covers a lot of the other stuff, so. Although we did get an email that the facility that accepts our trash had a fire. So we're hoping that they're not going to be down for too long, because JR from RWS did tell us that he's okay for at least another day with holding on to the trash that he's collected so far. But they hopefully will be back up and running on Thursday, otherwise we have a problem. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that half trash will travel and be on its way to where it needs to go quickly. So yes, we just got that email this afternoon. So yeah. So fun times in the world of trash. So, but fingers crossed. And Leslie, all yours.
All right,
Just Paula, I have a question. And I'm sorry that I'm interrupting. I see that Leslie's got an item to talk about recycling and bulky. Should I,
It's a different piece, but yeah.
yeah, it's not related to the fire. It's sort of just
No,
related to.
no,
Oh,
completely
okay,
something
we'll talk
different,
about it later. Okay, I'll wait.
completely different.
Mhm, thank you.
all right. 22 is closed with the exception of adjusting entries. The audit is not finished. It is ongoing. They will actually be in the building the next 2 days. And I asked him if it will be done on time or if we will need to file an extension. And his response was, we'll see. So I'm hopeful. I do believe that the Board of Ed will be finished by the end of the month, which it has to be. And I am hopeful that ours will be as well. I will guarantee you it will be finished long before May 31st. We're not doing that again.
No, oh, no.
The purchase policy, I have heard back from a few department heads. The biggest question that has come up so far is, well, how long am I gonna have to wait to be able to buy something if we have to have a procedure? If I can't just automatically buy something, how long is it going to take for approval? Valid question. Part of that can be solved with my item D, which is a new software package for the finance office. Because currently we do not have a strong purchase order or requisition system in place. There are other accounting software packages that have those modules, that have that opportunity and that enhancement to allow the town to continue to function, but yet still have accountability for fiscal management, whereby department heads are not automatically spending $9,000 on something that they probably should have gotten 2 or 3 price quotes to see if $9,000 was realistic. So, but a new software package would give me more flexibility to help implement that purchase policy. So with that, I have been on webinars and I have been researching some software packages. What we are using with Edmunds is not conducive to GAAP reporting because they do not do GAAP. It's a New Jersey-based company, and New Jersey does not file GAAP reports. There are 2 softwares that are very good that I like. Munis, it is done by Tyler. It is the Cadillac of municipal accounting packages though. It comes with a nice hefty price tag. It's a minimum of 3-year commitment in order to switch. If we were to switch to Munis, they want $30,000 a year.
Oh, my God.
For the software. And that's after a $75,000 conversion fee. As much as I'd like what they have available, because I have used it for years and I'm very comfortable working with it, I am also heavily researching a company called AccuFund. It was actually looked at with the RFP when the town chose Edmunds. But it was not selected and I'm not exactly sure why. But I have a much more realistic pricing from them, which would probably run us about $10,000 a year. And maybe $20,000 on a conversion.
Now,
And they could implement this, that it is in place for the start of next fiscal year.
This is eligible for ARPA, right?
Yes, the conversion is ARPA eligible. Because it's a one-time fee.
Mhm.
And right now with Edmonds, we are paying approximately $8,500 a year. And this would be about 10, so it is not significantly more. But we are also still paying for IFIPS. Because with IFIPS, we do not own our data.
Mhm.
They are holding it hostage. If we were to go with AccuFund, it is a one-year commitment. And it automatically renews on a quarterly basis, and that's all I have to tell them. I choose not to continue with their software, and we own the data when we are done. It's not theirs, it's ours. I'm still researching them, I'm still working on them, but I am liking what I see, what they have been telling me. But there are other towns in Connecticut that use them. I want to speak to the finance departments in those towns before I come back with a formal proposal and recommendation. But I've been trying to find something that's going to make our life easier.
A fully integrated system would be outstanding.
It would be, the one with AccuFund would be fully integrated. GL, purchasing. If I want, I can add budgeting modules. Fixed asset program, which we currently do not have. And they even have a system for AR, as well as, the AP stuff. But the purchase requisitions, if you put a requisition, can become an automatic purchase order, which will automatically flow them to pay the invoice. It creates a workflow. And all the departments would have read access, since it's a cloud-based software, where our department would no longer have to provide monthly reports to the departments. They can look up their spending on their own. So I'm liking what I'm hearing, but I'm not sold yet on anything.
It would be really, really, really nice if this is the last time we have to do
Yeah,
this. That's what I would say.
Nothing against you, I mean,
Munis,
I think that if we're gonna do this, let's do it right and,
Let's just do it.
and get whatever it is you think you need,
yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
And even, and if it's, especially if it's ARPA eligible, I mean,
mhm,
let's give Munis another look,
Yeah.
if it's ARPA eligible.
okay.
The
Because-
annual fee would be a little substantial.
No, I
Yeah.
understand that, but I think we've been through how many software packages and
I know.
none of them have worked out, and so let's
Do it
go
right.
with something that knows
Mhm.
is right,
And we know Munis works.
when we know Munis works, yeah.
We do know.
Is
Mhm.
the school using this?
It's possible. I do know that Orange converted to Munis during the pandemic. And John told me that since Amity is on Munis, they received a discount for it. I have not gone back to the individual that I spoke with at Tyler with
Mhm.
that piece of information yet. So I don't know what those numbers would come down.
Okay,
Do we know what
are there, would there be any
I don't know.
economies, would there be any economies of scale if the school went to them as well?
I think they may be on it.
They may be, well, Amity is already.
No, I meant.
I don't
meant the
know.
Communities.
It's possible. I think Brandy uses two different systems.
Mhm,
She uses one for her grants and she uses another one for her general fund.
mhm.
But yes, it is very possible that there is an economy of scale with the Board of Ed on
And
it.
we don't know what Woodbridge uses, so that might be
They have units,
Woodbridge.
They
does.
do- Yes,
yes,
because
because we,
at one point they were going to let us like tag on and
Right.
have one of their licenses or
yeah, I don't know.
something. It was really weird.
Fell through, yeah.
It didn't work, but
Right.
we were like, oh, yeah, if it'll work. And then
Yeah, so,
Doing it one last time.
I don't disagree. But I would be doing, I do want a cloud-based system. Because that way we don't have to worry about a server going down that we can't access our data. And they are a little less expensive. But I want to make sure that it's professional enough. That it's going to cover everything that we have. I don't want a bare bones that only the finance office has access to. Because that's not practical.
And something you need, you desperately need something that's fully integrated. So many of those problems have been with things that happen in one system and weren't getting recorded in the other parts. And we just, it has to stop. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. All right, so I will go back. Go ahead.
Leslie, you know, it just seems like every finance director we have, they change the software that we get. And I'm sure the reasons are all good at the time. So my recommendation would be, and I know you're not going to like it, is put this out to bid. Identify your requirements and, you know, like formalize the process a little bit more. You know, is that something you think you could do?
Yes, I can. It went out to bid.
With Edmunds before, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but the decision was made by Sheila on her own. So, yeah, well, remember, she just told us this is what we're doing.
And I found the results of the bid.
Mhm.
And AccuFund was actually less expensive than Edmunds.
I have no idea why she chose this, like,
I don't know.
strange.
Yeah. We know what things at this point we don't want to have happen ever again. There's a long list of them. It is a sad fact, but yes. Okay.
Okay, budget. Departmental budgets are due back to Paula and myself on the 20th of December, and I do have some departments in already. Which brings us to the month of January. We need to put some dates on the calendar for departmental meetings with the Board of Finance. I would advocate that they be joint meetings with the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance. So that everyone hears the same information at the same time. So that both boards can work independently to create what they feel would be the best budget to, you know, to go forward, that we can work on compromise where needed. So
That would be much more efficient probably than.
I mean, not everybody has their calendar in front of them right now,
No.
so maybe tomorrow we can come up with some dates
Okay.
and times and we'll see what
Just
potentially
so-
would work for the majority of.
are there any days of the week that are absolute no's for the Board of Finance? Let's start there.
No, not really.
For 1 month, I can. Other things cannot happen. I have the Amity calendar, but that,
Okay.
which is scary. Right now, the selectman, the superintendent is on our agenda for January to present her budget to us at our regular meeting on the 10th. Just so you know, she's presenting it to the finance committee the day before. So it's not going to be a vetted budget at all. But we could either be in January or March, probably. Well, maybe late February. We're the first one they have, but do you want to, we could ask for that to be changed.
Nothing coming February,
I don't know.
and I'm just throwing that out there.
I think they're going to Orange and Bridge both in February. And I think that all of us meet on Tuesday nights, different Tuesday nights, but I'm not sure. We could try. But will we be working for our regular meeting, what will we be doing?
Okay, I plan on presenting the departmental budget to this board at the January meeting.
Okay,
And then I'm advocating that we meet with the department heads for them to defend their budgets at some point later in the month of January.
Can we do like the one day, bang it all out? I'll even take some time off of work. Like 12 evenings in 2 months is less desirable for me.
I mean, we did start earlier in the day last time and then had dinner provided, what did we start at, like 3 o'clock or something? I think it was relatively early.
on a Friday.
It was on a
It was
Friday.
on a Friday.
The fire department love that.
Well,
I would love to do that again.
I think, so with the fire department, we probably have to find a different night, just because they can't come during the working day because they are working.
I mean, our department heads for the most part are around here during the
Well,
day.
yes, they're
They're here during the day,
here,
so.
but a later afternoon wouldn't
Right.
be that big a deal. I don't know, could you make a Friday afternoon?
Mhm.
Okay. We could try, oh, Katie, I hear somebody sounding like I did last week.
Oh yeah, you heard. You know what's funny is you heard that over the baby monitor. So that's how loud she's talking.
Oh,
in her bedroom.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, poor kid.
All right, so tomorrow what we can do is we'll look at the calendar, we'll come up with some options of
Okay.
potentially what can work and look at the departments and how we want to sort of break them up. And, because like I say, the daytime department people are here, you know what I mean? It's the fire department. That might be
Fire
really good.
department and ambulance, and they probably want to talk to us separately.
Did
They have
last
separate
year?
budgets. Yeah, they did, because they have different capital budgets,
Okay.
right? And, well, anyway. I would say it's up to them, but it's gonna take a while to go through theirs.
I mean, I can pull up last year's, it's on my, and you can kind of go from there.
I have a stack like this, fire department budgets.
Oh,
Well, I have asked for everything to be returned to me from Excel with all the supporting documents embedded in it so that we can throw it up on the screen and we can just go through it all.
I will contact Terry Loomis and ask about February.
Okay.
All right. Wait, holidays, Monday holidays, what's
President's Day is the third Monday in the month,
third?
third Monday in the month.
So the second, I'm just thinking about their finance committee meeting.
For Amity,
Yeah. Oh, the calendar is atrocious.
the second Monday of the second Tuesday of February is the 14th.
Okay, is the 13th a holiday?
No, No.
Okay, not even a bank holiday? No.
No, the
it's not,
20th
no.
is.
the 20th is President's Day.
Okay.
That's the following week.
All right, so I'll check and see if they can come on the 14th. You know what I'll do is I'll email and ask her to contact you.
Okay.
Because that way, she'll know I'm in the loop and that we would really like that to happen. Okay. All right, and so we're good, we're gonna try a Friday afternoon?
Mhm.
Okay, starting then mid-afternoon, well,
Mhm.
what would be? Except for the town employees, who would be pushing their Friday afternoons. I mean, if we start at 3.
It's your Your call.
I don't know.
It started too.
You
Can we start
at
it
2.
too, Katie?
Yes, I can make 2 o'clock,
And then what do
particularly
you
on a
want
Friday.
As far as time for each? Because some will
Well-
require more
You know what?
than others.
We're going to see Leslie's, basically the list of the departmental requests.
Mhm.
And maybe we can figure out from there which ones we like, but you can pick it. I would say pick a Friday, see which one seems to cause the fewest conflicts. Then just alert them all that we're going to be doing this on that Friday. And then if it doesn't, if it's the week after we see the budget, not the same week, then we'd be able to tell you which ones we wanted to see specifically, right? Because we'd have time to look at it and say. Okay. Yep. I'm in the correct month, right? That's January, not
Yes.
February.
Mhm.
January.
Like, you know, next year. Anyway,
Okay,
my brain's
Right around
fried.
the corner.
Okay.
I just don't want to be sitting here, at 10 o'clock, 2 days before we have to publish something, figuring out what we're gonna be, where we're gonna be.
Right.
I just want to get the process started so much earlier this year so that we can have time to digest it, have time to think about it, and actually have time to work the process. Okay, E, employee retirement plan. The current retirement plan is a defined contribution retirement plan, which is invested in life insurance annuities only. There is no opportunity for rollover. There is no opportunity for employee participation. It is a straight up town 8% input after a year. I have the valuation of this policy from June 30th. I realize that the town is small. We do not have a large volume of employees, but the overall town plan, since this was put into place, I forget the year, but it was in the 1993. Is less than $700,000. It is growing at a very slow rate. And basically, your surviving family is going to receive a payout. I don't think there is one individual in this plan at the current time that would receive more than $250 a month if they chose to use it as a payment plan in retirement.
Okay,
So
so we need a real retirement.
we
plan.
need a real retirement plan
That they can contribute.
that employees can contribute to if they so desire. And I would really, and since we are a municipality, what is best for us is a 457.
Mhm.
All right, John, yeah, John's nodding his head because he participates in one. And I've learned something very valuable in the last week. There was a 457 and a 403B plan established for the Bethany Board of Education.
Mhm.
And since we have a known history of collaborating on items, health insurance, overall town insurance, I have reached out to Brandy and I have reached out to an individual that works for Voya, because the plan is held at Voya, to find out if it is possible to amend the documents to include the town employees as well as the Board of Education,
Mhm.
which would allow for rollovers. It will allow for employees to participate. And then it also, allows for the town to do a match. How we structure it is all a work in progress at the moment. And I don't know if we look to pull everything from where it is and transfer it over. If we keep what is there for the people that have already retired or left the town. And give the current employees the option to convert.
Mhm.
All things we get to decide. Figure out what is our best option, but. When I looked at that valuation, I was like, this is not right going forward. This just isn't right and it's not fair.
And it's only a death benefit, right?
And it's basically just a death benefit.
So it's not a pension.
No, it's not. They're life insurance annuities.
Not even a retirement annuity.
No, not even a it's written that you can use it that way, but yet I'm not exactly
That's
sure.
not a lot of money.
It's not a lot of money. It's not,
Mhm.
it's so small, the amount of money that would be pulled out of there. I do have follow-up phone calls this week with Voya on it.
Who's Voya is?
Voya is an invest, just like Fidelity.
Mhm. Okay.
John Hancock, but Voya does do a lot of municipal 457s.
Mhm.
I don't know where yours is.
American,
American General.
I think so.
So I mean, every town uses different things. Orange and Woodbridge are moving all of theirs from wherever they are now. Actually, Mutual America is where Orange is, and they're moving everything to Voya.
Mhm.
It was down to Voya or Mission Square, and they're going with Voya.
Does Surma have any options?
This,
Surma, isn't that the state?
Kerman.
Kerma?
no,
Oh,
Seamers is the state. No, we do not want to participate in the state
Okay.
pension plan because,
Oh, no.
the unfunded mandates that are part of that. What did Tony say they're paying in Woodbridge, like 30% is
Some
the
outrageous
is
percentage for
the
their-
town match part, is the town required contribution?
It was some crazy amount. We thought ours was a lot, but theirs was.
Yeah.
Off the charts.
Yeah.
Do people still do 403Bs? I mean, I had
Well,
half of my working life in a.
well, 403Bs are primarily for education and hospitals.
Yeah, nonprofits.
It would probably have to be a 401A.
Because you can now, you could, well, the 403Bs are no longer tax deferred. So they were when I got into them. Of course, they lied about the tax rates being lower when you retired. And that whole thing about,
So basically, there is more to come on that.
okay, we have, what, 5 minutes?
No, till, quarter up.
Oh,
So
I
we're
did,
good.
I did an hour and 45.
So we're good. So next thing, Katie, the recycling.
Yes.
Bulky waste and MSW. Right now, we are contracted for MSW only. And it has to go to Wheelabrator in Bridgeport, which is currently shut because of a fire. More on that to come. Hopefully that resolves itself in a couple days. At the present time, we are paying almost $19,000 a month for pickup. And the contract, and when the RFP went out, it was strictly for solid waste. It did not.
MSW, I'm sorry, Leslie, MSW.
Yeah,
is-
Municipal
And it's
solid
the
waste.
municipal solid waste,
Municipal solid waste.
just trash.
Got it.
The recycling center is open and you have to take your stuff there now. Don and I are, because of doing the facilities and the public works and of the budget for next year, we are looking at all forms of expense for what would it be to change the way we are currently recycling things with going to curbside. Do we do that or do we not? And how do we implement it and when do we implement it? Our reason for applying for the DEEP grant was because they were going to give us curbside recycling. And they took that from the grant. They said, no, we're not giving you that. But at the same time, we are also looking at the costs that we are incurring for our bulky waste that is dropped off up at the recycling center. Because it's expensive. And right now, nothing is being rebated from a recycling standpoint. We have to pay to get rid of everything. Glass, paper, cardboard, plastic, all of it. There's no freebies right now. And it is costing anywhere from $80 to $110 a ton to dispose of that stuff. So we are looking at everything. We're not looking at just little pieces. We're looking at the whole thing. How much will the whole program cost us going forward? And how do we envision it? How would we do it? What implications would it have? Because the recycling center has 2 full-time employees right now. And it is open 5 days a week, 40 hours a week. So if we go to curbside, what does that mean for the hours it's open, those employees? There's a whole lot of questions right now, and we are trying to work on answers to all of them. We don't have them all yet, but we are addressing every avenue possible on this right now.
Because our current, I think you said.
Because our current contract, we have
goes
another
to
year
June
on.
of 2024,
I'm
so.
just asking the question, are you looking at any possible option of adding trash drop off at the
Like a
recycling?
transfer station?
Yes.
Yeah. That's in the realm of possibility.
That's what I mean, and we've already got dumpsters there anyway, so what's the difference if you bring it up there?
But you still have to dispose of it,
No, I know.
right?
Yeah, we
But
still have to get rid of it.
one of the things that I was talking with actually the first selectman in Orange, is what he's looking at is, because one of the things is, if he's looking at, having the glass separated
Mhm.
because it's heavy.
Mhm.
And apparently, there's a lot of wine bottles
Mhm.
that, that are being disposed of.
Mhm.
And if you can separate that out, the wine and the beer bottles, and, and you can, there's I think a place, I don't know if it's up in Waterbury, that will take that and recycle it. The town may receive money for it, but even if you don't, and they just take it,
Mhm.
you're now not paying for that tonnage
Right.
at the MSW plant, and so that you're saving money
Mhm.
because that's coming off of your tonnage.
Mhm.
So, that's the creative ways of trying to save money,
Mhm.
by taking it off your
I
tonnage.
mean, it's something to consider too, because we have let's just round 2,000 households in this town.
Mhm.
Not everybody's bringing their recycling up to the recycling center. So who's to say that everybody's going to bring their trash? They would have to pay privately to have a hauler come to their house to get their trash.
Mhm.
Yeah, because if we were to have trash.
That's
pickup
what I
at-
would do. If you
At
stop
the
trash
recycling
pickup.
center, then it would be private pickup at your home.
But if you had recycling, maybe they would put their glass in their blue recycling bin.
That is possible.
I mean, there are some towns that do town-wide, Beacon Falls, I forget who else.
Yeah, I
Ansonia.
mean, we're looking at comparable towns. What do they do? How do they handle it? So yeah, we're looking at everything possible. Yes, including terminating at the end of this contract, townwide pickup.
Mhm.
You go on a,
Private.
private pay.
Yeah,
Doing private pay now for the recycle anyway.
yeah.
Correct.
Mhm.
And it would be
Yeah.
private pay then for the trash too. But the thing is, if we get rid of townwide trash pickup, we have to provide a mechanism for people to get rid of their trash.
Yeah.
So the whole apple cart has been upset, tossed about, and we are looking at every way possible to piece it back together. So that it makes the most sense for both the residents and ultimately the taxpayer. So, from a financial standpoint.
What about the requirement, the state law and, subject to interpretation, because I'm not an expert, about the requirement to have pickup for recycling if you're picking up trash or municipal waste.
But that's kind of what threw this all up in the air.
Yeah,
It's the law is not specific on that. And
It says you have to provide the same service.
yeah, but when you read the statute, it's not specific. And it's on the Deep's website. It's not actually in the statute.
Mm,
And so, so is it the law or is it an administrative ruling of Deep? And because curiously, Deep was here by way of giving us a grant for recycling. And so they kind of knew we weren't doing it. And they had every opportunity to kind of penalize us for not doing it, and they didn't, right?
And then they pulled it from the grant.
And then they pulled the grant from us. So we kind of like we're a year and a half away from going out for an RFP if we're gonna do that. So it kind of, we haven't been doing it, and it makes the most sense if we're gonna do it, to do it as a bundle is the financial response, I guess, and the responsible response. But yes, depends on how you read the law.
I try to not read the law. I hear a little beeping sound. Paul, is there a notification or something? Like, doo-doo.
But it's possible that,
It might
it's
be,
possible that the hours in a countdown because the time allotted that we
We
set
still
for
have
it.
about 15 minutes.
The owl is chirping.
It's tired.
And it's looking at me with two eyes. It looks angry.
It hoops when you put it on, so that's, yeah.
Do you have any other concerns right now, Katie, on that?
No, none at all. I'm actually concerned when we go out to bid and we find that the tipping fees are much greater than what we're paying right now. And so I just want to make sure that we're budgeting accordingly. That's really from a Board of Finance perspective.
Interestingly enough, when we did the RFP a couple of years ago for the MSW townwide, I had 4 inquiries when we put the, thing in the newspaper. And only our RWS was the only company to actually submit a bid for it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but in about a year, January 2024 is when we would be putting together a new RFP, depending on which avenue we're gonna take. So,
Because I've made the conscious decision to put out the RFP no less than 4 months before the expiration of our current contract.
Mhm.
And item number 8 on our agenda.
can you see her glowing from here? Can you see her glowing on item number 8?
I have successfully hired an accounting clerk.
Oh, congratulations.
Nice.
And it started last Monday. And is picking up very, very rapidly. I can show her how to do something once. She retains it and she runs with it from there.
It's great.
It
Great.
is great.
Where did she come from? What's her experience?
She lives in Woodbridge.
Mhm.
She has a bachelor's degree in accounting. And she has a lot of banking experience.
Mm.
And she has not been in an accounting setting like this for a while. And her reason for applying was to get back to what she's been trained and schooled to do, because this is what she enjoys doing. Her attention to detail is tremendous.
What's her name?
Rowena,
And actually now, Leslie is the tallest person in that department, and if you know Leslie, she's petite little thing, so she's excited that she's now the tallest person in the department.
I really am, but she's wonderful. She lives in Woodbridge. So for her, she doesn't have far to go, and she's
Mhm.
adapting very well, and she's working extremely hard. And I have a lot of confidence in my ability to provide monthly reports to this board with the addition of her in the office. Because she's through at least 1/3 of the bank recs for this fiscal year in 2 days. So yes, she's taken them from July through November 30, at least 1/3 of the bank accounts that we have. So
Leslie's been glowing since the woman started.
it's a huge relief. And I now have a separation where Kelly can concentrate on the payables, that she can make sure that all that is done, filed, and everything is handled from that standpoint. So it's this good days are ahead of us in our department.
Yeah, she's a perfect fit.
She is,
She's
she
a
truly
perfect
is.
fit. Yeah. Moving
Good job.
forward.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was easy.
No, well, no, it really wasn't.
No, it took 6 months.
It was like God sending Leslie to me when we needed a finance director, so she got Rowena now, so we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but. So we will, we'll follow up with dates and,
Okay, so we're looking now at least at January 10th and Leslie giving us a first run at the department requests,
Mhm.
right? And so we want to come up with a couple like recommended or suggested Fridays and
Yes, I'll do
let
that.
us,
Yeah.
let us decide what we,
absolutely.
because if we're going to want to have it also be joint with the selectmen,
Mhm.
I know we'd have Paula and done anyway, but we'd have to arrange.
I mean,
make sure
right
it's
now,
convenient
if the
for
Board
Liz.
of Finance is meeting January 10th,
Mhm.
you would have, whether you wanted to meet Friday the 13th, you would have 3 Fridays, the 13th, the 20th, or the 27th. Or you could go to February 3rd as a next option. If you didn't want to do it that very first week after the finance, you could either have the
I
choice
would-
of the 20th, 27th, or the 3rd.
I'm just thinking that if we get them on, if we get it on the 10th, that's when we're going to know who we really think we need to see,
Okay.
unless they all want to see us.
Correct.
Mhm.
And I think if they all want to see us, we also have
Sure.
to
Mhm.
listen to them.
I'm fine with that.
So,
Okay. But that gives you an idea of the dates.
yeah,
that
but
are
probably not therefore Friday the 13th,
Correct.
Okay.
probably,
I would say the 20th, the 27th,
Or
or
the
the
3rd.
3rd,
or maybe 2 of them.
right, or
Yeah,
maybe 2 of them.
yeah, absolutely. So that.
And it is my goal to have the packet, the budget out to you by Friday the 6th, so that you have the weekend to look at it before our meeting on Tuesday night the 10th.
Katie's giving a thumbs up. I saw- You're looking moving, but I saw the thumb.
It's a large document, so
Yes,
it's
it
only fair.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
And by the way, I want to apologize for the agenda getting out late because that was my fault because I was sick and couldn't come in.
God.
And
Something's going on, man, with this.
Yeah,
Sick.
yeah,
It just
it's true.
doesn't go away. It just
No.
doesn't go away.
I've been that way since Thanksgiving. Feel awful every day. Oh, well. How's your child, Katie?
She's
You-
got the fever, cough forever. It's all of them. They're one,
Oh.
at least one, almost every single day, one of my kids is out of school.
Oh, God.
And I couldn't find children's Tylenol today. I went to 4 different stores.
Yeah, they're,
Oh.
they're saying that, actually, my husband went into the CVS in Cheshire a couple days ago, and he said the children's cold medicines were completely gone.
Oh, my
And then-
God.
And then he went to Big Y and the same thing. He wasn't looking for them. He just noticed because there was nothing there. Obviously, he didn't.
What happened is I went to CVS and they're like, we got a shipment in. There's some in the back. I don't know exactly what we have. And I said, it's no problem. I'll sit here and I'll wait. And I just waited for them to
Good.
go get it. Like I wasn't gonna try. It was really a strange situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Karen, you want to adjourn? We can keep it on, but you want to?
No, I think we're done, aren't we?
We are. I would like to talk off the record, just with.
We adjourn, can we adjourn and I stop recording?
Yes, thank
Want a
you.
motion, you want a
Okay,
motion to
motion.
adjourn? Someone?
Okay, motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Katie.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody have a great Christmas.
Okay, hold on, we